This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, students. Last class, I started this Kalman's method of stability analysis of finite side slope. I discussed the procedure in Kalman's method of this stability analysis. Since it is an important concept, I am going to revise again this beginning of the Kalman's method. So please everyone follow this Kalman's method procedure of stability analysis of finite side slope. We know that in side slopes we have two types. One is the infinite side slopes. Next one is the finite side slopes. These finite side slopes are existing in embankments, canals, and also in earth dams. Before going to construct those structures, embankments, canals, and also earth dams, first of all, we must check the stability of the side slopes in those structures. Stability means the determination of height of the side slope, the determination of angle made by the side slope with the horizontal, and also the factor of safety. We have number of procedures to check the stability of finite side slopes. I will explain them later. But the Kalman's procedure is important in this stability of finite side slopes because by using this Kalman's method, we can find out the maximum height of the finite side slope so that the side slope should be stable. So that is the main importance of Kalman's method. By using the Kalman's method, we can find out what should be the maximum height of the finite side slope, either in the embankments or in canals or in earth dams. What should be the maximum height of the finite side slope so that the side slope remains in stable condition. Now coming to this Kalman's method procedure for the stability analysis of finite side slopes. Please everyone watch this diagram on your cell phones. I am going to displaying the diagram of Kalman's procedure. So this is the diagram we are using in this Kalman's method procedure. So check the diagram. In the diagram, we have a finite side slope AB. This is the finite side slope. This is the side slope of either an embankment or a canal or even an earth dam also. So in the diagram, AB indicates the finite side slope with horizontal. That finite side slope AB making the angle I. I is the angle made by the finite side slope AB with horizontal. Let H is the vertical height of the finite side slope. So please follow this carefully. We consider the finite side slope AB. This is the finite side slope of either an embankment or a canal or a earth dam. With horizontal, that finite side slope is making the angle I, and H is the vertical height of this finite side slope. In the Kalman's method, we are going to find out what is this maximum height H. What should be this maximum height H of this side slope AB? So please listen everyone. What is this maximum height H of this side slope AB? So this slope AB is stable. By knowing this angle I for the given angle of inclination, we call this I as the angle of inclination of this finite side slope. The angle made by the side slope AB with horizontal, that is I. This is called angle of inclination of this finite side slope AB. Once this angle I is fixed, if this angle I is fixed, what should be the height of this side slope AB? Maximum height of this side slope AB, so that this side slope is stable. Dear students, please listen this carefully. Before going to construct this structure, this may be an embankment, this may be an earth dam, or this may be a canal. before going to construct this structure, we know all the properties of soil used in this structure. That is important. We know all the properties. We know the unit weight of soil gamma. We know the natural cohesion of soil C. We know the angle of internal friction phi of this soil C. Because this embankment is constructed with soil. This earth dam is constructed with soil. And also this canal slope is also having soil. So before going to construct this structure, it may be embankment, earth dam or canal, we know the properties of soil used in the structure. From the borrow areas, we collect this soil. If the good soil is not available at the place of construction, we collect this soil from the borrow area. At the borrow area, by conducting soil exploration, we can determine the unit weight of this soil gamma, the cohesion C of this soil, and also the angle of internal friction phi of this soil. So we know, remember please, we know all the properties of soil used in this construction of the embankment or the earth dam or the canal. Our aim in the Kalman's method, dear students, please listen this carefully. Our aim in the Kalman's method is to prepare the equation for this maximum height of soil slope AB. That is the main concept in Kalman's method. So in the Kalman's method, we are going to prepare the equation for maximum vertical height of this finite soil slope AB so that the soil slope is stable. In order to prepare that maximum height of the soil slope AB, we are using this Kalman's method. So coming to this Kalman's procedure, check the diagram. In the diagram, we have the finite soil slope AB making the angle I with horizontal. Consider the failure surface AD in that soil slope. Failure surface AD. It is a plane failure surface AD indicating the soil slope AB subjected to wedge failure on this failure surface AD. Since this failure surface is a plane failure surface, it indicates the wedge failure of the soil slope AB. So consider the failure surface AD in the soil slope. Let this failure surface AD is making the angle alpha with horizontal. So in the diagram, we have two angles. Angle I, angle of soil slope with horizontal. Angle alpha, angle made by the failure surface AD with horizontal. Then the portion of soil. The portion of soil between the soil slope AB and the failure surface AD. The portion of soil between the soil slope AB and this failure surface AD is called soil wedge. This portion of soil is called soil wedge. In the Kalman's method, first we are going to find out the weight W of that soil wedge. First to find out the weight of this soil wedge between the soil slope AB and the failure surface AD. This ABD is a triangle ABD. In that triangle portion, the portion of soil in the triangle ABD, this portion of soil is called soil wedge. Find out that weight of the soil wedge W. We know that weight is equal to unit weight gamma into volume of this soil wedge. Weight W is equal to unit weight gamma into volume of the soil wedge. What is this volume of the soil wedge? Volume of this soil wedge is equal to area of this soil wedge into thickness. Take that thickness as unit thickness. So please follow the steps carefully. Volume of this soil wedge is equal to area of this soil wedge. What is that area? Area of the triangle ABD. That area of triangle ABD is equal to area of the soil wedge into the unit thickness of the soil wedge in the perpendicular direction. That is the volume of the soil wedge. So first to find out what is this area of this soil wedge ABD? That area is equal to area of triangle ABD. So we are going to find out this area of the soil wedge. That is equal to area of triangle ABD. Check at point A. In the triangle ABD, at corner A, this angle. At corner A, between the line AB, between the line AD, between the lines AB and AD, this angle is I minus alpha. This angle at corner A is I minus alpha. The area of this triangle ABD, this is the formula to find out that area of triangle. ABD is a isosceles triangle. Check the diagram. The ABD triangle is not right angle triangle. ABD triangle is not equilateral triangle. The ABD triangle is a isosceles triangle. In trigonometry, there is a formula to find out the area of isosceles triangle. Since that ABD is a isosceles triangle, the area of the triangle ABD, dear students, please listen this carefully. The area of triangle ABD is equal to half into the length AB, half into length AB into length CD into sine of angle between the side AB and side AD. That is the formula to find out this area of isosceles triangle ABD. Half into length of AB into length of AD into the sine angle between, sine of angle between side AB, side AD, this angle. Between the side AB, side AD, this angle is I minus alpha. So the area of this triangle ABD is equal to half into length of AB into length of AD into sine I minus alpha, because between the side AB, side AD, this angle is I minus alpha. Now, what is this length of the side AB? To find out that length of this AB, take this right angle triangle in the diagram. Please everyone follow this. Take this right angle triangle in the diagram. This AB with horizontal making the angle I. With horizontal, the side AB making the angle I. So with vertical, with this vertical, the side AB making the angle 90 minus I. That is the angle made by side AB with horizontal, with vertical. And you know this height is H. This height is H. So take this right angle triangle in the diagram. Take this right angle triangle in the diagram. In that right angle triangle, cos 90 minus I. Cos 90 minus I is equal to adjacent side H divided by hypotenuse AB. So in that right angle triangle here, in this right angle triangle, cos 90 minus I is equal to adjacent side H divided by hypotenuse AB. But cos 90 minus I is equal to sin I. So sin I is equal to H by AB. So the length AB is equal to H divided by sin I. That is the length of AB side slope. The length of this AB is equal to H divided by sin I. Take this length of failure surface AD as L. The length of this failure surface AD as L. So the area of this isosceles triangle ABD is equal to half into length AB into length AD into sine of angle between the AB and AD I minus alpha. So check that calculation of area of triangle ABD in the diagram. So the area of triangle ABD, please everyone observe this formula. ABD triangle area half into length AB into length AD into the sine of angle between the side AB, side AD, that is I minus alpha. Just now I explained this length AB is equal to H divided by sin I. Cos 90 minus alpha I is equal to H by AB. Cos 90 minus I is sin I, that is equal to h by AB. So the length of AB h by sin alpha. Take this length of AD as L. So the area of this triangular wedge ABD half into AB h by sin I into AD L into sin I minus alpha. This is the area of the soil wedge ABD. We consider the thickness of soil wedge as unit thickness. Since the thickness is unit thickness, the volume of the soil wedge is equal to area into unit thickness. Thickness is 1 unit thickness. So the volume of the soil wedge ABD is half into area h by sin I into L into sin I minus alpha. This is the volume of the soil wedge ABD. Then the weight of the soil wedge W. Weight is equal to unit weight gamma into volume V. Unit weight gamma into volume V. So the weight of the soil wedge W is equal to unit weight gamma into volume is half into h by sin I into length L into sin I minus alpha. So this is the equation of the weight W of the soil wedge ABD. We know that 1 by sin I is equal to cosecant I. So take this sin I, 1 by sin I as cosecant I. The weight W becomes equal to the weight of the soil wedge W is equal to half into gamma unit weight into length of surface AD into height h into cosecant I into sin I minus alpha. That is the weight of the soil wedge ABD in the Kalman's analysis. So in the Kalman's analysis, we consider the soil wedge ABD in the finite soil slope. So in this diagram, AB is the finite soil slope. In the Kalman's method, we are going to discuss the equation for maximum vertical height of this soil slope AB. AB is a finite soil slope. What should be the maximum vertical height of this finite soil slope AB so that the soil slope AB is stable? Now coming to this diagram, at the condition of failure, at the time of failure, this is soil slope, this is soil wedge AB, the soil wedge ABD at the time of failure, the soil wedge ABD subjected to failure, it is moving in downward direction away from this remaining portion of the structure. So when the failure exists, at the instant of failure, this soil wedge ABD is subjected to failure, moving in downward direction from this remaining portion of the structure. At that instant of failure, please listen this everyone. At that instant of failure, along this failure surface AD, at the time of failure of this soil wedge, at the time of failure of this soil wedge, along this surface AD, failure surface AD, the soil wedge applies a tangential force. Look at this direction of this tangential force. This direction of the tangential force is parallel to surface AD. It is acting in downward direction because this soil wedge at the time of failure is moving in downward direction. So at the time of failure, the soil wedge ABD applies a tangential force on this surface AD in the downward direction. This is called mobilized cohesion force, capital CM. We call this CM. This is the force, tangential force applied by the soil wedge on the failure surface AD in the downward direction. This is called the mobilized cohesion force. It is acting in downward direction, tangential to surface AD, because the soil wedge is failing in the downward direction. Check that failure of this soil wedge. The soil wedge is failing in the downward direction, that is parallel to surface AD, along the surface AD, but this soil wedge is not failing in the perpendicular direction of surface AD. Just a minute, please. So please, coming to this failure of soil wedge. The soil wedge is failing in the downward direction. At the time of failure, the soil wedge applies the force Cm on the surface AD. This is the failure surface. We call this force Cm as the mobilized cohesion. That mobilized cohesion force is acting on the surface AD in the downward direction. It is applied by the soil wedge on the surface AD. Now this soil wedge is moving at the time of failure. It is moving tangential to surface AD only. It is not moving. The soil wedge is not moving in the perpendicular direction of soil wedge AD. Since this soil wedge is not moving in the perpendicular direction from this surface AD, that is important, please. From this failure surface AD, the another force is acting on this soil wedge, that is called the reaction force. From that surface AD, since there is no movement, there is no movement of the soil wedge in the direction perpendicular to surface AD, there is a reaction force from this surface AD acting on the soil wedge. That reaction force is indicated as R. R is the reaction force from this surface AD, failure surface AD, acting on the soil wedge in soils. This reaction force is acting at an angle phi m with this dotted line. This dotted line is perpendicular to surface AD. With this failure surface AD, this dotted line is perpendicular. To that perpendicular, this reaction R is making an angle called mobilized angle of internal friction phi. Please everyone listen this carefully. Phi m is called mobilized angle of internal friction. In geodetical engineering, this mobilized angle of internal friction phi m is equal to phi divided by factor of safety. Mobilized angle of internal friction phi m is equal to phi divided by factor of safety. That phi is called the angle of internal friction of soil in the natural condition. We brought this soil from borrow area. At the time of collection of this soil from the borrow area, by conducting the soil exploration procedures, either the standard penetration test or the vein shear test, find out the angle of internal friction phi of this soil in the borrow area, that is called the natural angle of friction phi. Divide that natural angle of friction phi with a suitable factor of safety like 2 or 3. Take that factor of safety as 2 or 3. You will get the another angle called phi m. This phi m is equal to mobilized angle of internal friction, that is equal to natural angle of internal friction phi divided by factor of safety. For example, in the borrow area, if this natural angle of internal friction phi of this soil is say 40 degrees, then divide that 40 degrees with factor of safety 2, 40 by 2, 20 degrees, that is taken as this mobilized angle of internal friction phi m. So check this diagram, students. I explained the calculation of this weight W by calculating the area of this soil wedge, multiplying the volume with multiplying the unit weight with volume, you will get this weight. Then at the time of failure of the soil wedge, the soil wedge applies a tangential force Cm on the surface AD. Cm is called this mobilized cohesion force. It is acting in downward direction. It is applied by the soil wedge on the failure surface AD. This is the mobilized cohesion force Cm. Direction is downwards, tangential to surface AD, unknown magnitude. That is important here. Cm is unknown magnitude. Third force is this soil wedge is moving in the tangential direction of AD, but it is not moving in the perpendicular direction. Since this soil wedge is not moving in the perpendicular direction, from this failure surface AD, a reaction force is acting on the soil wedge in the upward direction. This reaction force is making this angle phi m with normal to the surface AD. This angle of phi m is called mobilized angle of internal friction, that is equal to natural angle of internal friction divided by factor of safety. So here we know this angle phi m, but we don't know this magnitude of reaction R. R is unknown, Cm is unknown, but W is known, phi m is also known. These are the forces acting on this soil wedge in the Kalman's method of stability analysis of finite soil slopes. Now coming to that procedure in the Kalman's method, I am going to explain that procedure. Just now we calculate that weight W of that soil wedge ABD. W is equal to half gamma L H cosecant I into sin I minus alpha. Gamma is called the bulk unit weight of soil. Then the soil wedge AB, the soil wedge ABD applying the tangential force on surface AD, that is called mobilized angle of mobilized cohesion Cm. This mobilized cohesion Cm is equal to small cm into AD, length of failure surface AD. Small cm is called the mobilized cohesion per unit length. This capital Cm is called the total mobilized cohesion. Total mobilized cohesion, it is acting on the surface AD. This Cm mobilized cohesion force acting on the failure surface AD. We can write this mobilized cohesion force Cm, capital Cm is equal to small cm into length of the failure surface AD. Small cm is called the mobilized cohesion per unit length. We call this small cm as the mobilized cohesion per unit length. Capital L indicates the length of the failure surface AD. Just now I explained in the diagram. We also discussed the reaction force R from the surface AD on the soil wedge. That reaction force R is making the angle phi m with the perpendicular direction. Phi m is called angle of mobilized friction. This phi m is called the angle of mobilized friction. This phi m is equal to natural angle of friction phi divided by factor of safety. That is this mobilized angle of friction. Just a minute, please. So this phi m angle of mobilized friction, that is equal to natural angle phi divided by factor of safety. So we know this phi m value. So please listen this. We don't know this magnitude of cohesion force Cm. Now coming to the free body diagram of soil wedge ABD. I hope in the engineering mechanics you have studied free body diagram. Whenever we are preparing the free body diagram, first separate the diagram. First separate the body. In the free body diagram, first separate the body. I am preparing the free body diagram of the soil wedge ABD. Please everyone look at this diagram. I am preparing the free body diagram of soil wedge ABD. So remove that soil wedge ABD from the embankment. So I consider only the soil wedge ABD here. We know that in this soil wedge, the first force is W, weight of the soil wedge. W is acting vertically downward direction. We know this magnitude of W and the direction is vertically downwards. The second force is Cm. This is mobilized cohesion force. Just now I explained, when the soil wedge is subjected to failure, on the failure surface AD, the soil wedge is applying the mobilized cohesion in the downward direction. So from this soil wedge, the mobilized cohesion Cm is acting on the soil wedge AD in the downward direction from Newton's third law. For every action, there is equivalent opposite reaction. So from this surface AD, from the failure surface AD, the soil wedge subjected to the same Cm force, but in the opposite upward direction. So this is important, please. From this soil wedge, the force Cm acting on the surface AD in the downward direction. So this surface AD applies the same force Cm on this soil wedge in the upward direction. Check this force Cm. The force Cm, mobilized cohesion force, it is parallel to surface AD, but acting in the upward direction. Its magnitude is unknown. We know only the direction, but this magnitude of Cm is unknown. Third force is from this surface AD, the soil wedge subjected to reaction force R, because the soil wedge is not moving in the perpendicular direction. From this surface AD, the soil wedge subjected to reaction R. With this perpendicular direction, the reaction R making the angle phi m. So here I don't know this magnitude of reaction R. I know only the direction. It is upward direction making an angle phi m with this perpendicular direction. This dotted line is perpendicular to the surface AD. So in this diagram, in the free body diagram of this soil wedge, three forces are there. One is W. We know the magnitude as well as direction. Second one is Cm, mobilized cohesion force. We know only the direction, not the magnitude. Third force is R, reaction R. We know only the direction, but not the magnitude. So out of these three forces, we know only the magnitude direction of W, and we don't know the magnitude of Cm, but it is acting in the upward direction parallel to surface AD. So with horizontal, the force Cm making the angle alpha. Then the third one is reaction force R. We don't know the magnitude of reaction force R. We know only the direction. Direction of R with this perpendicular is making the angle phi m. Now please check these three forces. These three forces are acting on the soil wedge. When this soil wedge is about to failure, when the soil wedge is at the instant of failure, these three forces acting on the soil wedge keeps the soil wedge in equilibrium condition. So at the instant of failure, when the soil wedge is ready to failure, the three forces W, Cm and R acting on the soil wedge, they puts that soil wedge is in equilibrium condition due to three forces. Dear students, please listen this carefully. Due to three forces, if the body is in equilibrium condition, those three forces forms a force triangle. That is the condition in engineering mechanics. If three forces keeps the body in equilibrium condition, those three forces forms the force triangle. They follows the Lami's equation. They also follows the sine rule. So this is the condition of three forces at equilibrium stage. So due to those three forces W, Cm and R, since that soil wedge is in equilibrium condition, these three forces W, Cm and R, they will prepare the force triangle. Check that force triangle of the three forces W, Cm and the reaction R. This is the force triangle. So by considering the three forces acting on the soil wedge. What are those three forces? W, first force, Cm, second force, R, third force. In those three forces, I know only the direction and magnitude of W. So first take the W as one side of the triangle. I know this magnitude of W and the direction. So take the W as one side of the triangle. Now coming to the second side. The second side, I know the direction of only Cm, not the magnitude. In this diagram, this is called starting point of W. This is called ending point of W. At starting point, draw a straight line in the paper. Draw a straight line parallel to direction of Cm, long straight line. Draw a straight line from this starting point of the weight W parallel to direction of Cm. Then at this ending point, draw this another straight line in the direction of reaction R. Because I know this direction of reaction R, it is making the angle phi m with the perpendicular direction. So I know this direction of reaction R. So from this ending point, draw the straight line in the direction of reaction R. These two straight lines. One is from this beginning of weight W parallel to direction of Cm. Next one is from this ending of W parallel to direction of reaction R. These two straight lines will cut at this common point. Then this length on the forced triangle. Measure this length on the forced triangle. That length is equal to mobilized quotient Cm. This length in the forced triangle represents the magnitude of mobilized quotient force Cm. Similarly, this third length in the forced triangle, third length, gives the magnitude of reaction R acting on the soil wedge. So this is the preparation of forced triangle in the Kalman's method. Coming to these angles in this forced triangle, check these angles in the forced triangle. Now go to this diagram, free body diagram. Between the force Cm and the force W, here this angle, check this angle carefully. Between the force Cm and force W, we know that with horizontal, the surface AD making the angle alpha. So here this angle is alpha. The vertical, the weight is vertical. Since weight is vertical with horizontal, the weight makes the angle 90 degrees. So this third angle, here this third angle is 90 minus alpha. So the angle between the force Cm and the force W, this angle is 90 minus alpha. That is one angle between the force Cm, force W. This angle is 90 minus alpha. Then between the force Cm and reaction R, reaction is the third force. This angle between the force Cm and reaction R. This Cm force is acting on the surface AD. This is the perpendicular to surface AD. So with this perpendicular, the force Cm makes the angle 90 degrees. And this reaction R with this perpendicular making the angle phi m. So between the force R and force Cm, this total angle. Here this total angle is equal to 90 plus phi m. So check the angle between the force Cm and force W. This angle is 90 minus alpha. And between the force Cm, reaction R, this angle, total angle. This total angle is 90 plus phi m. Coming to that force triangle. So check these angles. Between the force W and force Cm, angle is 90 minus alpha. Between the force R, force Cm, this angle is 90 plus phi m. Then this third angle. You know that in the triangle, some of the three angles are 180 degrees. So from that 180 degrees, subtract this first angle 90 minus alpha and also the second angle 90 plus phi m. You will get this third angle. The third angle is equal to alpha minus phi m. So in this forced triangle, the angle between W and Cm 90 minus alpha, angle between Cm and R 90 plus phi m, angle between R and W alpha minus phi m. This is the force triangle of the soil wedge ABD. Now in this force triangle, apply the sine rule. Apply the sine rule or the Lami's theorem. Sine rule in the engineering mechanics, according to sine rule, the force divided by sine of angle opposite to that force. So take this Cm first. If I take this Cm force, the angle opposite to this Cm force is alpha minus phi m. So Cm divided by sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W, second force. W divided by, with this W, the opposite angle is 90 plus phi m. Opposite to this W angle is 90 plus phi m. So W divided by sine 90 plus phi m is equal to R divided by sine 90 minus alpha. So apply the sine rule in this force triangle. I am going to take only the two forces Cm and W in that sine rule. So if I apply the sine rule of this force triangle, Cm divided by sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W divided by sine 90 plus phi m. So like that, apply the sine rule. So for that force triangle, apply the sine rule. According to that sine rule, for that force triangle, Cm divided by the opposite angle sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W divided by the opposite angle sine 90 plus phi m. Like that, in the force triangle, apply this sine rule from the engineering mechanics. Simplify this sine rule. So it is Cm divided by sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W divided by sine 90 plus phi m is cos phi m. So this equation is Cm divided by sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W divided by cos phi m. Bring this W to the left side and this sine alpha minus phi m to the right side. This equation becomes as Cm by W. Cm by W is equal to sine alpha minus phi m by cos phi m. So up to this ratio, if anybody is having doubts, please ask me in the Kalman's method. Up to this Cm by W ratio, if anybody is having the doubts, the Kalman's method. To that ratio Cm by W, sine alpha minus phi m by cos phi m in the Kalman's method, please ask me. One 12 regular. If you have any doubt, please ask me. Voice not clear. Regular 1112. Voice not clear. Not audible. If you have any doubts, please ask me. In this Kalman's procedure, we prepare the force triangle in the Kalman's procedure, and from that force triangle, by using the sine rule, we got that equation Cm, that is the mobilized cohesion force unknown, Cm divided by W is equal to sine alpha minus phi m by cos phi m. Otherwise, please post your doubts on the chat box. Regular 112, please post your doubt on the chat box. Unmute your mic. Please post your doubt on the chat box. Okay, coming to this continuation of Kalman's method. From that force triangle, we got that ratio Cm divided by total weight W is equal to sine alpha minus phi m by cos phi m. But already We know this weight W equation. We prepare that equation in the Kalman's method. Weight W is equal to half into, please check this, weight W is equal to half into gamma, bulk unit weight, into L, length of the surface AD, into H, into cosecant I, into sine I minus alpha. From that earlier discussion, we know this weight W is equal to half into gamma into L into H into cosecant I into sine I minus alpha. We also know that this mobilized cohesion force Cm, capital Cm is equal to small cm into length L. Small cm is the mobilized cohesion per unit length. L is the length of the failure surface AD. So substitute on the left hand side, capital Cm, small cm into L, W half gamma LH cosecant I into sine I minus alpha is equal to right hand side as it is, sine alpha minus phi m by cos phi m. Cancel this L on the left side. Cancel this L on the left side and bring this half. Cancel this L on the left side and bring this half into cosecant I sine I minus alpha to the right side. So cancel this L first on the left side and bring this half cosecant I sine I minus alpha to the right side. This equation modifies as, this equation changes to small cm, that is the mobilized cohesion per unit length, divided by gamma into h. Cm by gamma into h is equal to, bring the remaining terms to the right side, it becomes as half into cosecant I, this cosecant I into sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m into 1 divided by cos phi m in the denominator. 1 by cos phi m is equal to secant phi m. So from this equation we got Cm divided by gamma into h is equal to half into cosecant I into sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m into 1 by cos phi m as secant phi m. Now in this equation 4, this left side term Cm divided by gamma h. In this equation 4, in the Kalman's method, this left side Cm by h is called the stability number of the finite side slope AB. That is the symbol for Cm divided by gamma into h. That Cm is small cm. It is the mobilized cohesion per unit length. We call that Cm by gamma h as the stability number, indicated as Sn. Cm by gamma h is called the stability number of the finite side slope AB. So substitute this stability number in the equation 4. That equation 4 becomes as Sn is equal to, the stability number Sn is equal to Cm by gamma h. Sn is equal to half into cosecant I into sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m into secant phi m. So this is the stability number of the finite side slope AB. We know that in the discussion, in this equation 5, check this equation 5. In this equation 5, I, angle made by side slope AB with horizontal, that is constant. Angle I is constant, and this angle phi m, mobilized angle of shearing resistance, that is equal to natural angle of shearing resistance divided by factor of safety. So this phi m is also constant. So if you check this equation, from this equation, Sn, stability number Cm by gamma h is equal to half into cosecant I is constant, and sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m is also constant. So check this equation 5, dear students. In equation 5, Sn is equal to Cm by gamma h. In the Kalman's method, our aim is to find out the equation of this maximum height h. Here this Sn is equal to Cm by gamma h. Cm, the mobilized cohesion per unit length. gamma, the bulk unit weight of soil. H is the vertical height of the soil slope. We are going to prepare the equation for this vertical height H. Check the right hand side. On this right hand side, I, angle made by soil slope with horizontal constant, phi m is constant. So from this equation 5, we can understand that this maximum height H depending on angle alpha, because I is constant, phi m is constant. So from equation 5, we can know this height H of the soil slope depending on angle alpha. If this height H becomes maximum, Sn is also becomes maximum. That is the condition. So here the height H is maximum for Sn is maximum. Since Sn depending on angle alpha, Sn depending on angle alpha, the stability number Sn becomes maximum when dsn by d alpha equal to 0 from the mathematics, because this stability number is depending on height H. So from this equation we can understand Sn is equal to Cm by gamma H. So this stability number depending on height H, the stability number also depending on angle alpha, because I is constant, phi m is constant. So the stability number is maximum when dsn by d alpha equal to 0. So for this maximum value of stability number, differentiate this equation 5 with alpha. Differentiate the equation 5 with alpha. So dsn by d alpha is equal to d by d alpha of Sn, equation 5, substitute that, half into cosecant I into sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m into secant phi m. This is equation 5 for the stability number Sn. Check this terms. Cosecant I constant, take it outside the differentiation. Half is constant, take it outside the differentiation. Cosecant I is constant, secant phi m is also constant, because angle I is constant, angle phi m is constant. So here half cosecant I, secant phi m constant, take it outside the differentiation. So dsn by d alpha is equal to half into cosecant I into secant phi m into d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m equal to 0. So that is from this differentiation, half into cosecant I into secant phi m into d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m. Since this half cosecant I secant phi m are not equal to 0, you have only this d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha sine alpha minus phi m equal to 0. So that is the condition of the maximum stability number SF. Sn, d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha sine alpha minus phi m equal to 0. Simplify this differentiation. It is a d by dx of uv form. I hope you know the formula. D by dx of uv is equal to v into du by dx plus u into dv by dx. Apply that formula here. U is sine I minus alpha, v is sine alpha minus phi m. So here take this u as sine alpha minus phi m, v as sine I minus alpha. So d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha sine alpha minus phi m is equal to sine I minus alpha into d by d alpha of sine I alpha minus phi m. D by d alpha of sine alpha minus phi m is cos alpha minus phi m. That is the first term. This is v into du by dx. So it is v sine I minus alpha into d by d alpha of sine alpha minus phi m, that is cos alpha minus phi m. Actually here it is plus into plus sine alpha minus phi m, sine alpha minus phi m into d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha. So here actually we have the plus, but I will tell you why this is minus. Actually here we have plus, so it is plus sine alpha minus phi m into d by d alpha of sine I minus alpha. What is this d by d alpha of sin I minus alpha. D by d alpha of sin I minus alpha is cos I minus alpha into d by d alpha of I minus alpha. D by d alpha of I minus alpha. D by d alpha of I minus alpha. Here we have minus alpha. D by d alpha of I minus alpha. I is constant, so it is 0. We have minus d by d alpha of alpha minus 1. So plus into minus 1 becomes minus. So if you differentiate this equation, you will get from this differentiation sin I minus alpha into cos alpha minus phi m minus sin alpha minus phi m into cos I minus alpha equal to 0. Take this second term to the right side. So this equation becomes as, that equation changes to sin I minus alpha. So this equation sin I minus alpha into cos alpha minus phi m is equal to sin alpha minus phi m into cos I minus alpha. Take the second term to the right side. So this equation becomes as sin I minus alpha into cos alpha minus phi m is equal to sin alpha minus phi m into cos I minus alpha. Bring this cos I minus alpha to the left side and bring this cos alpha minus phi m to the right side. This equation becomes as sin I minus alpha by cos I minus alpha is equal to sin alpha minus phi m by cos alpha minus phi m. So this ratio is tan I minus alpha is equal to this ratio tan alpha minus phi m. So here tan I minus alpha is equal to tan alpha minus phi m. So from this equation you will get I minus alpha is equal to alpha minus phi m. So take this minus alpha to the right side, minus phi m to the left side. This equation becomes as alpha plus alpha is 2 alpha and minus phi m to the left side plus phi m, I plus phi m. So from this you will get the equation as 2 alpha is equal to I plus phi m. From this you will get angle alpha is equal to I plus phi m by 2. This is equation 6. We got this equation 6 from the condition of maximum stability number. So we consider the stability number is maximum at d sin dsn by d alpha equal to 0. For the maximum stability number, we got this equation alpha is equal to I plus phi m by 2. Since it is for the maximum stability number, this alpha is called the critical angle. At maximum stability number, we call this angle alpha as critical angle alpha c. So this equation c, equation 6, alpha c is equal to I plus phi m by 2. Here we got this equation 7 for this maximum stability number. When Sn is maximum, Cm by gamma h is also maximum. So please everyone follow this. When stability number Sn is maximum, Cm by gamma h is also maximum. At maximum condition, alpha is equal to alpha c. That alpha c is equal to I plus phi m by 2. Substitute this alpha c in this equation 5 to find out this maximum stability number Sn. So that maximum stability number Sn, that is Cm by gamma h, is maximum. On the right hand side, half into secant I into secant phi m into sin I minus alpha. But alpha is equal to alpha c I plus phi m by 2. But alpha is equal to alpha c I plus phi m by 2. So substitute that alpha c here for this maximum stability number condition. Alpha c I plus phi m by 2 into sin alpha minus phi m. The previous equation 5. 101. Any problem, please? Regular 101. Please unmute your mic. So we know that the stability number Sn, the stability number Sn. So this is the stability number equation. We already discussed that this is the stability number equation Sn. So here this alpha at maximum condition is I plus phi m by 2. Substitute that alpha on the right hand side in equation 5 to get that maximum condition of stability number. Sn is equal to, the stability number Sn is equal to Cm by gamma h. When Sn is maximum, Cm by gamma h is also maximum. That is equal to half into cosecant I into secant phi m into sine I minus alpha. Alpha is I plus phi m by 2 into sine alpha minus phi m. Alpha is I plus phi m by 2 minus phi m. Simplify this right hand side. So half into cosecant I into secant phi m. Simplify this. Sine, bring this 2 to the, take this 2 here LCM. So if I take this 2 as LCM, it is 2i minus I minus phi m. So it is I minus phi m. Sine I minus phi m by 2 into, simplify this second term also. Sine, take this 2 as LCM. So it is I plus phi m minus 2 phi m by 2. So it is I minus phi m by 2. So Cm divided by gamma h into gamma h maximum. Cm by gamma h maximum is equal to half into cosecant I into secant phi m into sine I minus phi m by 2 into sine I minus phi m by 2. So it becomes as sine square I minus phi m by 2. So Cm by gamma h maximum is half cosecant I secant phi m into sine square I minus phi m by 2. According to trigonometry, sine square I minus phi m by 2 is half into 1 minus cos I minus phi m. So substitute this sine square I minus phi m as half into 1 minus cos I minus phi m. So this equation becomes as, so simplify this equation with sine square I minus phi m as half into 1 minus cos I minus phi m, cosecant I 1 by sin I, secant phi m 1 by cos m. So after the simplification of this right hand side, cosecant I 1 by sin I, secant phi 1 by cos phi m, and sine square phi m I minus phi m by 2 as half into 1 minus cos I minus phi m. You will get Cm by gamma h maximum is equal to 1 by 4 into cos 1 minus cos I minus phi m divided by sin I into cos phi m. So this is the maximum stability number condition. So from this equation, I can get this maximum height. So from this, H maximum is equal to the maximum height of side slope AB. H maximum is equal to 4, this 4 into mobilizer quotient per unit length, Cm into sin I into cos phi m divided by gamma into 1 minus cos I minus phi m. So in the Kalman's method, first we prepare the forced triangle with three forces W, Cm and R. In that forced triangle, we apply the sine equation, sine rule, and from that sine rule, we got the stability number small cm by gamma h. The stability number Sn is maximum when dsn by d alpha is 0. By using the differentiation, we calculate the angle alpha, critical angle. Alpha is equal to I plus phi m by 2. Substituting that alpha value in the stability number equation, and after the simplification, we got in the Kalman's method the maximum height of the side slope. H maximum is equal to 4 cm sin I cos phi m divided by gamma into cos 1 minus cos I minus phi m. This is the equation for the maximum height of the side slope, finite side slope, according to Kalman's method. So by using this equation 8, we can find out the maximum height of the finite side slope by knowing this angle I, angle made by side slope with horizontal, angle phi m, mobilized angle of internal friction, that is also known, and this small cm is also known from the soil investigation. So by knowing all the values in the right hand side, this angle I is known. This is the angle made by soil slope with horizontal, that is known from the drawings, and phi m is known. This mobilized angle of shearing resistance phi m is equal to natural angle phi divided by factor of safety, that is known. Gamma is known from the field observations, and Cm, the mobilized quotient per unit length, that is equal to natural quotient per unit length divided by factor of safety, Cm is known. So by substituting those values in the equation 8, we can calculate this maximum height of the side slope. If the height of the side slope in the embankment or earth dam or canal is less than this maximum height, the slope is stable. The slope is stable. If the maximum height, if the height of that side slope is more than this maximum height, the slope is unstable. So in the Kalman's method, this is the equation to find out the maximum height of side slope. So if anybody is having doubt, please ask me in the Kalman's method. Dear students, if anybody is having doubts in this Kalman's method, please ask me. If anybody is having doubts, please ask me in the Kalman's method. Any doubts, students? In the Kalman's method, if you have any doubts, please interact with me. Is my voice audible to you? Is my voice audible to you? Please give me the response. Okay. If anybody is having doubts in the Kalman's method, please discuss with me. This is entirely mathematical. Kalman's method is totally mathematical. The preparation of forced triangle, we know in that forced triangle, the direction of weight W and also the magnitude of weight W. And we know the direction of force Cm. We also know the direction of reaction force R. So we prepare that force triangle W, Cm and R. In that force triangle, I explained that angles between the Cm and W. The angle is 90 minus alpha. Between the Cm and R, the angle is 90 plus phi m, and between the force W and R, the angle is alpha minus phi m. Then we apply the sine rule on that force triangle. Cm, capital Cm divided by sine alpha minus phi m is equal to W divided by sine 90 plus phi m. From that equation, we got the stability number Sn. Sn is equal to Cm by gamma h. That is equal to half into cosecant I into secant phi m into sine I minus alpha into sine alpha minus phi m. The stability number becomes maximum when dsn by d alpha is 0. Because stability number depending on angle alpha, the stability number is maximum when dsn by d alpha is 0. So we complete the differentiation. We got from the differentiation alpha is equal to I plus phi m by 2. That is called a critical angle for the maximum stability number. So we substitute that alpha angle in the stability number equation. So Cm by gamma h is maximum. That is equal to half into cosecant I into secant phi m into sine I minus I plus phi m by 2 into sine I plus phi m by 2 minus phi m. We simplified that equation. From that we got the maximum height of the soil slope Sn Hm is equal H maximum is equal to 4Cm into sine alpha into cos phi m divided by gamma into 1 minus cos I minus phi m. This is the maximum height of the finite soil slope in that structure. During the construction, if the height of the soil slope is less than this maximum height, the slope is stable during the construction. And if the height of that soil slope in the structure is more than this maximum height, the slope is unstable. So like that, in the Kalman's method, we got this maximum height of the finite soil slope. This is the maximum height of finite soil slope. Dear students, already I provided the study material in this unit 2. Please go through the study material, the Kalman's method. If you have any doubts in that Kalman's procedure, please post your doubt in the chat box. We have that group Foundation Engineering. Please include me in that Foundation Engineering group. If anybody is having the access, please include me in that Foundation Engineering group. And if you have any doubts in the Kalman's method, please post your doubts in that group. I will give you the answer. Okay, students, with this, I am going to stop this today's class, the Kalman's method. If anybody is having doubts in the Kalman's method, please ask me. Any doubts, students? In the Kalman's method, if you have any doubts, please post your doubts on the chat box.